Hi, my name is Raghav Sengupta. I have graduated as part of the batch of 2023 from JGLS, and I've started a job at the Supreme Court of India as a judicial law clerk, and I'm learning something new every day. So I started small in JGU. Being an introvert, it took me a lot of time to come out of my comfort zone. So it started with small responsibilities such as the grievance redressal cell. The grievance redressal cell helps address student grievances on campus, anything and everything related to hostels or food. And then slowly and steadily, I ventured out into mooting, which gave me a great insight into the world of oral advocacy as well as research. Soon after, I decided to try something new, and I started writing so that I could get my pieces published. And turns out that helped me with my academics as well because of the rigor at which we were expected to write. Most recently, in the year 2022, I had the opportunity of representing the Indian contingent at the ICC Paris tournament. It was a wonderful experience where we got to meet teams from all across the world, hone our dispute resolution skills, which meant thinking on the spot, as I am doing right now. Jindal offered me the opportunity to venture out into different areas as an intern. So I have done a number of internships ranging from corporate jobs to litigation to research before finally making up my mind as to what I wish to do. And this has come about because of the abundant indulgence I received from our faculty at Jindal. They come from all walks of life and they bring great exposure as well. So I think that kind of molded me to think beyond the four walls of what we were being taught in class. And I think, that's how I came about deciding that this is the field that I do wish to pursue. So sometime in my third year, I had an opportunity to intern with the Office of the Chief Justice, then Justice Chandrachud. And I think that was the internship which set things apart for me. I made a call to go into the field of a clerkship because I wanted to explore the area of research as well as a potential future in teaching in the near future. So after that internship, I had made up my mind that this is a field I really want to pursue. And I ended up applying to a lot of places, and pursuant to the clerkship assessment scheme, I was enrolled as a judicial law clerk at the High Court of Delhi for a very brief stint of 3 months. And then later I heard from the Supreme Court of India sometime in the month of August, and I made a switch. So I really like my job. What's interesting about it is that you're like a junior counsel to a judge, right? You're assisting them on briefing matters, you're assisting them on research, as well as writing judgments which have an impact on the country. And since this is a very short-term gig of a year or two, I see a future in litigation or maybe the research-based industry a year or two after. It's a little difficult to say how life will be like 10 years from now, because when I entered JGU, I wasn't sure how life would be like 5 years from now, which is when I would graduate. But I do see a long-term career in the field of policy making as well as international relations. So even though my background is primarily in law, because of the electives that were offered in the law school, the cross-listed electives, I had abundant exposure to different subjects and thematic areas. And I realized that in the long term, I want to do something which is in the intersection of law and public policy. So perhaps maybe a long-term career, maybe in the United Nations, or maybe in a research firm, a reputed think tank, would definitely be up my alley. So from the very start, JGU had pushed me out of my comfort zone. I think we were used to being in school where we had a few hundred people in our batch. But here we were competing with close to 800 or 900 people for very limited spots, whether it be extracurricular activities or opportunities to explore potential career pathways. So I think two key things which really shaped my trajectory in Jindal would be, number one, running for student council in my final year. It's not something I would have expected to do because it's a very public thing and I like to keep to myself. But I think that was a very rewarding experience in terms of learning people skills, learning how to deal with different people, understanding what they want, and finally getting things done, because that's what the council tenure was about. and it was about trying things which did not come easily to me. So the initial push came from some of the courses and assessments that were offered by faculty, where they had an oral advocacy component. I remember one of my earliest professors saying that if you can write something, you should be able to say it as well, because that would help you with coherent thinking. So I think that initial nudge pushed me out into a world which I ultimately ended up exploring in the course of 5 years by doing different competitions. I think at the end of 5 years, I definitely did come out as a changed person. My personality was something my 18-year-old self wouldn't be able to recognize. I ended up getting a job which I really wanted to do. I think the idea of doing something that you really like, something that you dream of in law school, where people are just doing the same sets of things, it's very rare. And the fact that Jindal equipped me with the skills so that I had the confidence to pursue a career in this path was certainly invaluable. And last but not the least, it's about the people and the connections you make along the way, right? So the Sodexo folk who help you so much by serving food, taking care of your room, your laundry, to perhaps navigating student council work with the higher-ups in the administration. I think that was a very important lesson that I took away from Jindal, and I'll keep with me for life. The best way to learn anything is to throw yourself in the deep end of the pool. While many of us are lucky to get mentors and people who guide us in the beginning, the only way you can really learn something or figure out what it is you actually want to do, whether it is a 2-year plan or a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan, is by committing to it, by actually exploring this area and then deciding whether or not it is meant for you. So that is the best way you can learn, and Jindal will have plenty of opportunities for you to come out of your comfort zone, and I would highly recommend exploring those, because that's the only way you'll be able to change and develop and make your time at the university count. Thank you so much.